Big Mike. What's going on, brother?
You are my friend. I understand that you were up late, up early, all those kind of things.
Yeah, so last night I go to sleep. I'm probably in a deep sleep at that point, and I get woke up by Sharice to tell me, "Hey, listen, we need to take Peter to the hospital." I'm like, "Wait, what?" I'm like, "What time is it?" And she tells me, I'm like, well, "What happened?" And she's like, a month ago, Peter hit this door frame and split his right eye. So I guess last night he went down, raised his head up by his desk, and hit his left eye. So he split that. It looked like it made me need a stitch. It was definitely a little deep as far as that goes, but luckily he got along. He got out of it with just some glue. And when you go to the emergency room or anything like that, it usually takes forever to go through that process, right? Registration and then going back and then working you up and then having the provider come in and talk about what the treatment's going to be and all this good stuff. Well, luckily there's like an ER that's probably about 5 minutes from our house and nobody goes there. It's not because it's not a bad place. It's just because nobody goes there. It just is what it is. But we've been there. I've been there like what 3 times I think this last year. The first time I went anaphylactic, and then the 2 times with Peter so far.
Right.
Super quick. Got in and out within like 25 minutes. I couldn't believe it. So luckily
Hell,
he's all right. He's not pitching tonight, luckily, but he's okay either way.
that's what you get when you're almost closing in on what, 6'4", 6'5"?
Yeah, yeah. You gotta watch out. You're gonna ding your head. You're gonna hit your face. You know.
You sent over a great special that's going on over at Titan Medical this week.
Yes. So we've got this week is a real big deal for everybody. So anybody that has acute chronic injuries, you know, owies or pulled or strained tendons or anything like that, they're going to really like this. And even if they want to be preventative about their soft tissues or the connective tissues or just in general recovering better and feeling better. And that's our Titan Recovery Stack. So it is BPC 157, TB 500, KPV. And the best thing about this is you're getting one heck of a deal. So usually it's 625 for this 3 peptide, 1 injection special. And this week we're doing 450. So it's a huge discount. Usually we would do BPC and TB 500 for that, but now you're going to get KPV and along with that too as well. And that's another peptide that's going to be great for inflammation and recovery and all these great things. So they're really synergistic, all three of these. And I use them, and a ton of patients get amazing results with these things. And the other thing that I want to start mentioning now is because you've had so many people that are haters against it or unbelievers or whatever you want to call them but I don't know if you got to see the new Joe Rogan with RFK on it. And I knew about this about 2 weeks ago. And basically what happened was RFK went on Joe Rogan and said that the Biden administration overstepped and they basically took away these peptides that were helping so many people. And now they're going to bring back 14 of the 19 peptides that were banned from compounding that created this huge great market surge or black market surge with these peptides that are not tested. And at that point, oh man, I just froze again.
Yeah, same thing here.
How's that? Oh, not yet.
I can see it,
Let's
buddy.
see. You can see me, Alvin? Okay. That should be on the strongest Wi-Fi. You signed it in there. Okay. Right. Sorry about that, Mike. Technical difficulties. Technology is great when it works, but when it doesn't, it sucks. Um, so so listen, so what I was talking about was RFK and Joe Rogan and coming back of 14 of the 19 peptides, which BPC, TB500 are a part of. And these were banned from compounding, which created a gray market and a black market, which has every influencer and anybody else out there trying to create their own brand peptides, which are untested, unregulated, and not even prescribed. So, some of these things are, there shouldn't be any issues with people taking most of these, but there are some contraindications with. BBC and TB500, they're not. They're more natural to the body, well, all peptides are, but really, really natural. Like, as far as BPC 157 comes from the gastric juices in the stomach and be able to heal so many different things. As far as if it's localized in the stomach, yeah, it can help Crohn's, possibly ulcers, IBS, and a number of different other things that are happening with your digestion process there. So that's a big one if you want to take for your stomach. But if it's for like a tendon or a ligament or a muscle or anything like that, you want to go more site directed with BPC 157, where TB 500 is more systemic throughout the body if you inject it. But then again, I would definitely inject close to the site too as well. And these healing peptides are amazing. So when you get this blend, this will be all three peptides in one bottle. And at that point, doing one injection is going to be a lot better than doing three for some people, for most people, I would say.
And getting them regular. Black market came out, and
Okay, so if you've seen this up here, we had Andreas put up this video that we put together about RFK talking about these things. So if you guys want to check that out, it's really cool. It's going to be a big education process again now, and hopefully RFK is going to be getting rid of most of these gray or black market businesses because they're going to start targeting them. What's happening right now in Washington? Like I said, I got some people on the board with RFK, and they said basically like this. They said that there's going to be regulation and standards coming down for peptide therapy because they recognize that there's a lot of benefits, but they do not want the black market or gray market area. They're worried about people's safety and concern and efficacy there, and it is a big concern. And a lot of people are just throwing that by the wayside because some influencer or somebody's telling them, "Oh, just buy it from me or buy it, from here."
Exactly.
And the problem with that is this: you don't know where it's coming from or what it is, which is one. Two, there's no medical monitoring. So at that point, if there is some sort of ill reaction or some sort of allergic reaction of some sort, there's nobody for them to talk to. Their phone call is going to be going to the hospital or 911. And I don't think 911 is going to be the first one, but they would be going to the hospital for a site allergic reaction of some sort. There's not going to be anybody answering questions for you or telling you what to do. That's the other thing. On dosages, they say on these sites, for rats or whatever, and this is what the dosage usually be. But at that point, they don't give any other medical instruction or support. So you are there. If you get those vials, you're using them at your own will, and there's nobody there to back you up or at least help you out through the process or answer any questions you may have about taking some of these peptides or different therapies too. So it's always going to be better to have something regulated in that sense. And I'm glad that that RFK is doing the right thing. And at that point, they're going to bring these peptides back because all these peptides have helped people immensely, like just immensely in so many different ways. I mean, for us, we've had peptides, for the whole time in some cases, but in most cases for all the rest of them, probably about 10 years now. So, I mean, we have a ton of different patients, including myself, that has benefited from these peptides. So, peptides are the future, and there's other things that are coming that are going to be the future too as well. And I'm excited. But if you guys are looking for something to really help you guys out healing wise, or even be preventative or help with recovery, I would definitely recommend the Recovery Stack with you guys. And it's one heck of a deal this week, so take advantage of it.
With Kennedy in there in office, I think it's an incredible thing. How's that help you guys at Titan Medical, having someone that actually does take care of themselves?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to help immensely. I mean, as far as that goes, I mean, these people are really going to get a lot of benefit. They're going to be able to, optimize their body and their longevity and a lot of different other things too as well. So, I like I said, like peptides, they're amazing. I mean, I'm probably taking probably like maybe close to like 10 to 12 peptides right now. Yeah, it's because the two stacks alone for me, which is the Glow and the Titan Transformation stack, you're talking about 8 right there in 2 injections. I mean, I'm taking a lot more than that. Wow. I'd probably be taking like 14 to 16, I guess. I mean, I've added a new one in. I've added methylene blue in the mix right now, injectable. So it's a blue injectable. I inject that. That's super cool. But the other ones that I'm doing right now are pretty game changers, I think, too. ARA 290, which is great for like inflammation and a couple other different things. That's a good one. And then 5 amino 1MQ in injectable form. So that's the other one I've added in my mix. So that's going to be a good one. Usually you would have to take, is what our regimen was before, in oral capsules. You'd have to take 2 a day. With the injectable, you don't have to do that. So super cool. And like I said, I'll give you guys my honest opinion about it after I took them. The Titan Transformation Stack has been amazing. That's one of the game changers for me. A lot of different patients that are taking it. Obviously, the Recovery Stack or the Glow Stack that has BPC, KPV, TB500, and GHKCU in it. That's another game changer for me too as well. Adding that in with those healing peptides is just another benefit for people because talking about skin remodeling, skin repairing, the hair growth too aspect of that for guys and girls. I mean, this is a big thing. I think a lot of people would like to take advantage of.
Can you talk about having somebody like Kennedy in office relative, so somebody that's actually done a healthy lifestyle and eats right, and talk about that for society relative to the individuals that were there before that were trying to profit from, this is a metaphor for the companies out there that are trying to mimic you. But
Yeah.
can you talk about that and government how that can help the United States?
Absolutely. So, with RFK being in there, look at our former administration, and I'm not picking sides, but I mean, if you look at the former administration's pick and RFK, it's a big, big difference. And taking away these things are actually hurting people. For what they did and how they banned those peptides right away was a big problem. I mean, they took away something that was definitely benefiting patients, and there was no big safety concern that they were making of it. So having a government that will work with you and want actual health, actually to be healthy, the way they changed the food pyramid already is a game changer. I mean, giving the tools to the people to really help themselves heal or feel better or even be healthier. I mean, this is what we need to do. We took all this away before, and all this is coming back. Even talking about the presidential award in fitness, when you get that in high school and stuff like that, that's another big game changer that I think that, that's going to drive these kids to want to be healthier. But I think on the adult side, people are waking up to a certain aspect and they know, or they're being educated, I guess, that these different treatments or peptides or therapies are out there to be able to utilize. And I think a lot more people are coming aware of that. And I think a lot more people are going to start getting into it. And I think we're going to be healthier, hopefully, in the future. I mean, if we stay on the path and trajectory that we're on now, I think that we will be good in the future. But if it changes, let's say in the next 4 years, I think we're doomed as a civilization altogether because of obesity, chronic, chronic sickness, and people just not healthy. So this has already been an aspect or a problem, I think, for most, I would say, kids in the next generation, because most of these kids are eating a lot of these different things, high processed foods all day, every day. They're messing with their hormones in one way or the other. And at that point, I think that's affecting fertility rates dramatically. And I think that we're going to have problems in the future if it goes like that. If we change things now and they stay on the trajectory, I think that we'll be okay. But at that point, it's still up for grabs.
Taking that and moving it over to where you're someone that actually takes care of themselves and uses peptides, relevant to a businessman that's out there just trying to make money off of selling peptides. Can you talk about that?
Yeah. You got people out there that have no idea what these things do, or they're just trying to sell peptides. You want somebody that's going to be taken care of, and that's kind of what we do, right? And we're not just going to pile on a whole bunch of different peptides for you to take. You want to make sure that it's going to fit what you're trying to do. It's right for you. It doesn't contraindicate with any medications you may be taking or so. I think that's the big thing. I think there's a lot of people out there who just want to make sales, and they're doing the shortcut route of just getting their stuff from India or China or wherever they're getting it from, and then sending it out to people instead of really going through and making sure that you're doing what's right for a patient and not just a consumer, right? They're not a consumer, they're a patient because they're injecting most of these peptides. So at that point, it's a whole different thing. That's why oral compared to an injectable is a bigger deal, right? Where in oral, you're getting broken down in the gastro tract and then getting broke down in the stomach as far as that goes before it's really hitting the bloodstream. And when you're doing an injectable, it's hitting the bloodstream a lot faster and you're absorbing a lot more. So that's where it can be more dangerous per se. It's just a lot of different things out there. People need to be worried about what they're getting. They should be more worried about that than, I don't know, drinking a Coke or a soda or whatever it may be. There's a lot more people out there that are more against that than injecting black market or gray market peptides, and they have no idea where it comes from.
You have a big staff down there in Florida. Do a lot of the staff members talk to you about peptides and them receiving some peptides? And a lot of them are just amazing models and influencers. Do they talk to you about what their favorite peptides are?
Absolutely. So, I mean, there's a couple across the board. The Titan Transformation Stack and the Titan Glow Stack Recovery Stacks have been probably the top notch of what a lot of people like. I would say most influencers and stuff like that we've had, or even models,
Medical
like
Centers Therapy of the
GHKCU, whether it's in the Glow or Glow package or if it's by itself. The other thing that we brought out that Sharice is testing right now, but I think it's going to be another game changer, is the GHKCU cream. And at that point, being able to apply this to a localized area, and she's been doing her face, and Sharice doesn't know like skincare regime or anything like that. She has super sensitive skin like me, and she doesn't like to put stuff on it because it usually makes her break out, or just becomes really sensitive to it. So at that point, she's used it and she's got some really, really good effects. She's liking it, and she's got as far as no problems as far as applying or anything. So I think that's going to be a game changer. But the other ones are testosterone, and that's in the Titan Transformation Stack. But I have a lot of people on the testosterone and retatrutide. That's been those two are probably the biggest ones that you hear about. And at that point, people are loving retatrutide, whether they're trying to lose weight or they're 9% body fat right now and just trying to really, really dial it in even more. And that's the good thing about it. It's not even just a weight loss effect, because if you use it for weight loss, it's going to work great. But the best thing is it beats out semaglutide, tirzepatide, because you lose the weight, but you retain more muscle than you would with those, because it actually does let you eat a little bit. And then at that point, you have a 3-part antagonist instead of 2 or 1 instead of the other ones. And then mixing that with testosterone, you're talking about, viscerating belly fat, attacking it like crazy. And then you have the GHRH effect with raising growth hormone levels, which is an overall anti-aging effect, an overall recovery effect, benefits in so many different ways, sleep and all these things, which these are just chain effects of recovery and better things as far as your body feeling better, recovering better, and performing better every single day. So with these two, I think that's the mix. But when we start going down like MOTS-C2, I've got a couple of people that like that, and MOTS-C is another one that's in the Titan Transformation Stack. That's why it usually defaults to that one, because a lot of those patients like to take a lot, those 3 or 4 together. And at that point, they were looking at maybe getting an all-in-one solution. That's kind of where the Titan Transformation Stack came into play. But for me, I think that most people and influencers out there, like I said, testosterone, retatrutide, the biggest ones they talk about. But the next ones after that, I would have to say, the Glow Stack, the Titan Recovery Stack, and the Titan Transformation Stack. Those are the biggest ones. I love them all. I mean, they all have got a place. So, and this is not something that you have to run all the time. The new big bad boy on the block, and you've heard me talk about it a couple of times, that people are starting to come around to right now because there's more information about it coming out, is SS31. So we talked about this, how it had an FDA approval for a commercial product. um, talking about, mitochondrial health. And, when we talk about MOD-C or even Sloop 332, which is another big popular one, is that, those are mitochondrial enhancers. So those will help ignite the mitochondria in different ways. But when we talk about SS31, we talk about repair of the mitochondria. And, as we age and as go on, mitochondria gets damaged. And the best thing to do is repair that if you can. And this is the first one that's, out there that, is really getting a big push because of that. And I'm loving it. And it's something that you don't have to take, for example, here where I was talking about we don't have to take all these peptides at one time, is 2 times a year. So at that point, this is something that can be, scheduled. And as you're here with us at Titan Medical Center and you're going through these programs or peptides or therapy regimens, we can schedule where, if you tell us what you want to do, then we can schedule a whole plan of what we want to do and how the timeline looks there, right? Like if we were talking
Hey
about
guys, so I
10K
got my
or
package
or
today
something
from
like
Titan
that
Medical
effect, and we
Center.
talk about 3 months, and then at that point changing that up to something else. So there's a lot of different programs or regimens, and they're all personalized per patient. So if you're looking for something that's going to help you out and get you to what you want as a result, then we can definitely help you out there.
I can't fathom the amount of emails you get from people saying thank you, some success stories. Can you let us know about some of those success stories that people write you and just say, you changed my whole life?
Absolutely. So that's like one of the most priceless things you can get from a comment from anybody. It's a compliment, a huge compliment that, if somebody says that you changed my life, and we've got this in so many different ways. I don't know how many relationships we've saved just because of this, and that might have been one-sided or two-sided at that point, where we've definitely helped couples, bring back their relationships. We've had people change their lives with their weight loss, up to 100 pounds in weight loss. I mean, and we've got so many success stories with weight loss, it's ridiculous. And that was maybe from somebody that was in great shape, and then as they went on in life, they just started gaining a whole bunch of weight, and at that point they couldn't get it off. Or you've had these people that have been obese their whole lives, and this has stepped in and really changed the game for them. They're Titan transformations. So I mean, it's a big thing. We're even bringing the guys back to life. And that, when I say back to life, is this: when you have low T and you're wired a certain way, like me and you, no matter if you have low T or not, you're still going to get up and take care of your responsibilities. You'll do what you got to do, and you'll do whatever you have to do to get by or mask that. But when you're, by yourself or at home and everything's done, then you crash out. So changing the game with that is really raising the levels. And when I had low T, I call it the Walking Dead syndrome. And it's like you're a zombie and you're going through the process and doing everything you got to do, but you're just not there all the way. And when you do have low T and you change this and you optimize that level, you're literally bringing yourself back to that old you. And it's a revitalizing, refreshing moment. And for me, I always tell people it's like opening the blinds and seeing the sun for the first time. It just hits you and you feel amazing. And you want that feeling to last. And the buck just doesn't stop there. When you start talking about aging and HRT, you really want to look at IGF-1 or growth hormone levels too as well, because that's part of the hormone process, and some of the other things, your vitamins and other things, just to make sure that you're optimal and you're feeling your best. But the game changers there is getting those people changed or getting those people alive again. Even helping people through sicknesses and stuff like that. I mean, there's a lot of people out there that have dealt with a lot of different things, like Crohn's and stuff like that, that we've helped with some of these different therapies. Fatty liver disease, that's one of the number ones we get a lot of people through here with ALT, AST, the liver enzymes through the roof. Little glutathione will knock that right out and help you guys back to where it needs to be. So you're filtering what you need to through your body optimally too as well.
Tomorrow, I understand you got one of my guys coming in.
Yeah.
Jimmy?
Yeah. Jimmy's coming down. Me and
I
Jimmy
love-
do a podcast every Wednesday. We do a Titans Edge with me and Jimmy. So, it's cool. Yeah, he comes down. But we don't talk about anything like this. Like, we're just talking about like lifestyle stuff, the kind of things away from like working out and stuff like that. We'll of course still drop a little bit of that in there, but just some different stuff.
How's Jimmy just loving this stage of life? Can
He's
you talk
loving it,
about?
man.
He's such a
60 years old. I mean, at that point, we've got him on a pretty good regimen. You know, he's on MK, he's on IGF-1, OR3, Hercules Potion, ECAs, and now he's on Retta. So we're trying to trim him up even more. I told him, I said, we're definitely going to trim you up, get you all set. So I mean, it's gonna be good to see Jimmy trim up even more than what he is. So he's losing quick, but he's still eating a lot of calories too. So which I don't know how he's doing on Retta. We'll see. I think it's week 2 or 3 for him right now. But we'll see tomorrow. Tomorrow will be check-in day. We'll see how everything's going with him. It's always good. Like I said, the older the guys are and still doing it, still working out, still putting that work in, I gotta respect. You, him, Billy Gunn. I mean, there's a lot there to learn, for anybody out there, because if you guys are doing it, that means that we can do it. That's how I look at things. People lead the way, and at that point, if you see people lead the way, then you can follow that path. It's hard for the people to create that path, though. That the people that create that path are the true leaders. So I give it up to you guys for that, for sure.
Andreas. You should really throw up some of those prime photos of Jimmy. Just a beautiful soul, but a Greek god. You know, on the cover of the magazines and on stage. Beautiful, beautiful soul. Known him since the 90s, early 90s, and a fan, not just a fan, but I got to be a friend of, which is a lifelong friend, which is great. So you guys check that out tomorrow with Big Jimmy and John.
Good.
Yeah, it's going to be great, man. He's life knowledge. A man that's been in the trenches and still in good shape today. Is there any future plans for him jumping back on stage?
I don't know. That's totally up to Jimmy. I have no idea. I don't know if he's even thinking about that right now. We'll see though. Let's get him trim and jacked and like where he needs to be, and then at that point make the decisions, because he's still putting in the work, man. He is. Like he's definitely training his ass off. So I don't know if he's overtraining. That's one thing with Jimmy. So at that point we got to see that. But I think he's putting a lot of work in. He really wants to get to where he needs to be. And that's motivating, man. Like I said, you look at the average 60-year-old dude out there, or even 50-year-old dude out there, and it ain't gonna be 40-year-old dude out there, and it ain't gonna be good. It ain't gonna be good. So I would say maybe 1 out of 10. And that's being pretty generous. Maybe 1.5 tops. But at that point, if you're still putting the work in and you look like that, and you've done it all. I mean, he's put his body through some pretty bad wear and tear too as well. I know his hips are an issue for him and stuff like that. So it just is what it is, man. As you get older, things start breaking down.
On the good note, man, Jimmy's one of these amazing. Look at that young pup.
Yeah.
He's you're being very kind about the percentage, but I never like saying that he looks good for his age. He looks good for a 20-year-old in today's society. These guys like him and I know Robbie Robinson is much older than us, but these guys are phenomenons.
Yeah.
The 1%er.
It is.
So let's jump really quick to the incredible offer you guys have this week of the Glow package, correct?
Yes. Today they actually had the recovery package. So this one doesn't have the GHKCU. It's a recovery stack, so it has BPC, TB500, and KPV. It does not have the GHK, which will make it our Glow or Clo package. But this one will have the 3 in it. So $625 it usually is, and it's $450 this week. So you guys take advantage of it.
Are you still offering the 4-pack?
Yes.
Okay.
We aren't running the discount on it this week.
I got you, man. I just want to make sure because I'm one of them Glow guys.
So
I like the healthy.
I said, what RFK did the other day on Rogan has just laid it out. These peptides are not going away. Now, if another administration gets in and they decide differently, that's a whole different story. But I can guarantee you now, for at least the next 2.5 years, you're going to be golden. You're going to be a golden boy for sure. And if it goes on in the same way, then we'll be set for a long, long time.
I love that. What else do we got coming up now? You guys got any special events coming up? Because I know you guys are always busy every single weekend.
So we got invited to, there's this it's called the Gasparilla Film Festival here in Tampa, and it's a pretty big thing. I think the first movie they're going to do is like an Ethan Hawke movie and stuff like that they did, and then so Cody Bombay, the guy who's just part of Team Titan, just a newer Team Titan member, he's in one of the movies that is headlining called Savage. And at that point, we're going to hit the red carpet there, and then do that on Sunday. But as far as Titan Medical Center events, I've locked in the Titan Medical Tampa Pro, of course, Hurricane Pro, and then obviously Olympia. So at that point, those three things are locked in. I'm getting those all set, but I'm working on some different events right now that are a little bit different than what we've been doing these last couple of years. We just focus on some different things.
Outside of the peptides, how are you doing with your shoulders and your exercising to make sure you're rehabbing your shoulders correctly? For these people that are out,
so obviously my
dealing
shoulders
with
still hurt.
injuries.
My right one does obviously a little bit more, but I'm still training. I'm training at least 3 to 4 times a week, and at that point, I'm focusing in on trying to build the muscles around the shoulder as much as I possibly can. And at that point, if I can keep those real tight and in, that I can keep it hopefully together where it's not causing me as much problems or pain. Obviously, I'm using all the peptides, so that helps tremendously too. Like even the start of my day, when I use the recovery stack, which BPC, TB, and KPV we were just talking about, at that point, I get some relief from inflammation right away. Some of the other ones I'm adding in right now will hopefully help here, but it's too early to tell. But yeah, so I mean, those are going really well. I'm interested. Our regenerative medicine side will be opening soon. So at that point, we're still we're dealing with that and getting that all ready, which is going to be a huge, huge thing here in Tampa, and people are going to be able to fly into Tampa and to be able to get these treatments done. And at that point, not have to worry about going out of the country for some of them, because at that point, you're just you're not having to travel as far. You're in the United States, and you're still good to go. So it's going to be definitely a game changer.
Is there a way that you train your shoulders differently now than you did when you were a youngster?
I don't do no overhead presses. I can't do them hardly anymore with my right shoulder. So I'm training more of like cable work. Um, I am training, with shoulders. I am doing as far as raises, like so I'll do dumbbell raises, lateral raises, and I can still do that decently. What I'm doing like, I'm not doing crazy weight. I'm doing maybe like 25, 30, 35 pounds at very most. I'm doing maybe 40 tops, but dumbbell raises I'm trying to keep it real light, because just one bad raise is going to hurt me, and I'm not going to be able to just pop back. So I don't want that, because if I lose my shoulder, then I'm losing, benching right now, which I've been able to do right now. So I'm happy about that, and it's just, I don't know, just keep them tight. So I would say for anybody, anybody doing like rehabilitation shoulder work, that's what I do. I work on rehabilitation of shoulder work almost every day. And I'm trying to get more mobility and range of motion. So I've been doing like the finger walks, and, I've been trying to use bands to like really like get some more motion in my shoulder, range of motion. So that's it. That's the best I can do right now. I mean, like I said, hopefully when the stem cells open up here, what I'm going to do is I'll probably do another round of them, see how that goes. I'm going to try to hold off here for, there's a couple of different things that are going on right now where they're talking about like cartilage getting regrown and stuff like that. So if I can do something like that, or even help, in some different ways, then I'll probably go that route. But if I need the total shoulder replacement next year, then I'll go that route. This year, I'm going to focus on some different things.
Sounds like for me, you're still putting the work in, you're still forcing blood in there, and still trying to get that muscle around it to stay strong to hold that shoulder together, which I think is a great thing.
Yep. Got it. I mean, that's the only thing you do. If you let it just become weak, it's just going to become weaker. And I don't want to atrophy in the arm or anything like that. So I'm just trying to bounce back as best as possible. Like I said, I'll be okay. Let me give me about another 2 years, and one way or the other, I'll fix it.
As a parent, you got a son that is a junior right now in high school,
Yeah.
and again, a monster of a child. How are you dealing with being a father and feeding him as of right now?
Raising him as a father, I mean,
No,
basically,
no, the food aspect
oh,
because
the
he's
food
in the
aspect. Sorry.
growing stage of 16. So how are you dealing with food
Okay.
intake?
So Peter needs to eat. That's the key, right? He needs calories, and so at that point, I'm trying to make him eat as much as possible. I'm trying to get him to eat better too, which he has been. He has changed the. He's turned, and like right now, he's got abs and stuff like that, which is great. But I told him, I was like, we got to put on some muscle, and that was the thing. Like I blood tested Peter, and I just blood tested him, and I seen his levels, and it was, yeah. And I think it's because of not getting enough sleep and just working himself from the ground. But I'm going to keep an eye on that. I just did some more blood on him yesterday. I'm going to see how those results come back, and then see what I have to do at that point. I want to make sure he's optimal, make sure he's good there. But the eating portion for him is definitely coming around. I just need to be more. I think he eats a good amount in the sittings. I'm just not there to watch him in all the sittings. And I've obviously got the protein shake, in and out, before bed and all that good stuff. So if he can continue doing that, I think he'll be good. Like I said, the training needs to be there. His eating needs to be there. I mean, that's
What
it.
tips
Man.
can you give that parent out there that has the kid that's in high school that's trying to grow? What are some tips that you seem to work, and what are some things that doesn't work?
If you be too forceful, I guess. I mean, they're not going to really want to, but I mean, it is up to you what you want to do that aspect. But you gotta just. I mean, listen. If they really want to excel, then at that point they're going to be committed, and they're going to be committed to do what it needs to be done. And at that point, eating is a part of it because if you have to grow, you have to eat. What I would say is for that parent that's out there that's trying to do that, and I haven't done this with
We are.
Peter, but this was a good technique for me because I was the exact same way is you get protein shakes and you get the powdered ones, put some more weight gainer in there if you need to, and then put some ice cream in there and make them an ice cream shake. Have them drink that thing down. Load it with calories. Make sure they're getting the calories. If they're eating the food already, you don't have to do that, but you can add, a shake or two, regular premix shake you can buy, at a supermarket and get that in for just in between. But if they're eating their meals, increase their meals, let them eat to what they want to, to a certain extent. Now, if it's an overweight kid already, obviously you don't have the problem with the eating, and you need to have to back off the eating. But if it's a problem with you having the kids gain weight, and I haven't seen a lot of kids that need to gain weight, but there are some out there like Peter, then at that point you need to increase their eating schedule and their calorie schedule. Make what they like to eat, get them the meal plan foods. I mean, there's definitely some good companies out there that have some good plans out there that these kids will like the food. It's not bad food, it's good food. If I eat it and I'm one of the most pickiest eaters out there, then at that point I think any kid out there would probably think it was pretty good. But that's what I would do, and incentivize if you need to, do something with them, give them a coupon for something, something in that aspect where it's like a reward too, and they're working towards that goal. Any job, has a goal, and that's the job is to eat. And if they're hitting that goal, and maybe they're going over of what's required, then at that point, incentivize them in some way, shape, or form. It doesn't have to be super crazy, but anything I think would light a kid up for that.
Is there anything that you guys do as a family, you and the wife do, to make sure the house has good food in the house, or a lot of treats and snacks that they can get to? How do you play that game? How does
Sure.
that work?
So Peter literally, will go out and eat whatever he wants. So like he can go pick up snacks or whatever. I've got like this little account for him where he has a little card and he can use it whenever he needs to. But as far as good food at the house, we've got the meal plan for him. So he's got those meals in the fridge. With his dad being his dad, there's always steaks ready to go and potatoes. And right now there's pasta in there. So, that's him being lazy and not heating it up maybe. But at that point, there's always food in the house. Snack wise, there's always shakes at the house. There's stuff like that I wouldn't want him to eat that's in the cupboard too that him and Sharice will attack. So at that point, he doesn't really have. It's not like he's going home to a bare fridge and bare cabinets, or it's just the healthiest of healthy foods, right? Like there's a variety of different foods there. So, if he's being lazy, that's one thing. But as far as option wise, he's got quite a few options.
That's a good leader, good father, good businessman.
Yeah,
Johnny, thanks for hanging out today with me, my
sure.
friend.
I can't. I appreciate it, guys. I appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you next. And then remember, check it out tomorrow with Big Jimmy and John
Yep.
talking lifestyle.
Yep.
And tell Jimmy I'm coming out to train with him, and I got to get out to Florida to see the family. It's been way
Yes.
too
Yes, sir. We need you for sure.
All right,
Later,
guys.
Mike. You want to
Have a
just
great
turn
day.
me on still? Okay. All right. So let me get to you guys' questions real quick.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mike, for coming on with us on our stream this time. That was awesome. All right. So we appreciate Deep Talks. So how's your day going, gentlemen? So our day is going good. I don't know how Mike's is going. It's probably pretty good. The questions should be fitness related only. No. So you guys can ask any questions across the board. So, if you guys have different questions out there, we'll talk about them, or lifestyle or whatever you guys want to talk about. We are totally good. It doesn't have to be fitness related, type medical related as far as therapies or anything like that. I think unless you compete in the sport of bodybuilding or strength training, competitive people need to be smart about what they take, actually understand what they're putting in their bodies. This is very true. And I believe this even for people that compete in the sport of bodybuilding. I think that even nowadays, those people that are trying to compete I know that some of them go in some very high doses of different things, but a lot of the different things I think they can get from result from, using a preventative anti-aging clinic like us, or, like peptides, or, of whatever it takes. As far as that goes, we're not going to prescribe bodybuilding doses of testosterone. We're going to go up to 300 milligrams at very most per week, but that's it. So, but peptides or other things, hey, listen, we can really hit that and roll. Plus, doing blood work, seeing where things are at, making sure everything is okay is the big thing here. Okay. I love your knowledge about peptides and TRTs and gear stuff. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. I'm here to share the knowledge with you guys, so you guys know, your options on the table, what's there for you guys, what you guys can utilize, and what would probably be the best. What is love? That was to Mike. You would have probably seen that. How does Titan's custom IV and nutrient drip therapy work, and who benefits from them? So a patient would come in office. They would either say, "Hey, I was looking for a bag that had this, and this in it," or "What are your bags that you guys make?" or "What are my options?" or "What's going on?" We'd ask them, "Are you sick, or are you looking low energy, or you're trying to build your immune system?" All these different things we would take into account, and then we'd build a bag for you, and you'd get your IV therapy right here in Titan Medical Center. What else we got?
Hey, what's up, guys?
Are immune boosting peptides like thymosin alpha 1 popular in recent Titan consultations? Absolutely. So everybody is trying to be as healthy as they possibly can. People are trying to build their immune system because, let's face it, people are still getting sick, right? And right now there's a sickness going around the country. Everybody's sick. So, flus and all these different things. I'm sure COVID's still around, but at this point, thymosin alpha 1 will definitely help build the immune system, modulate the immune system for a more optimal immune system. What peptide is best for belly fat reduction? Testosterone or CJC 1295 lactamorelin? This is a no-brainer. It's testosterone. Testosterone beats out CJC 1295 with lactamorelin because it is the only GHRH out of the two that attacks visceral belly fat. That's right. So testosterone is the big time winner there and the big bad boy on the block. Do you track long-term outcomes for BPC 157, or is it mostly symptom-based reporting? So no, we do track long-term outcomes for PPC by asking the patients, and seeing, hey, listen, are the injuries healed? Is your recovery better? Whatever they got it for, we're asking that question and tracking it like that. Long-term wise, I don't think you really have to track it long-term. You can obviously ask the patient how they're feeling still, and they can give you that result or answer. Do you individualize target testosterone ranges based on age or symptom profile? So we base it on all three. We base it on age, we base it on symptom profile. And at that point, we're going to see where those numbers lie. And then we'll correlate all those different things. And then we'll come up with what the program would be, or if this person would qualify for testosterone replacement therapy or hormone replacement therapy. With GHK, sorry. with GHKCU, do you see more benefits systematically? Excuse me. With GHKCU, do you see more benefits systemically or for skin and hair support? So, systemically, and that's for skin and hair support, but all over the body too, as well. How do you manage elevated hematocrit levels during TRT? So, this would be so if you're provider, so if you were coming to Titan Medical Center and you had low testosterone, we put you on testosterone, and at that point, your hematocrit, hemoglobin, and red blood cell count rise. What we would do is we would tell you to go in for a donation. If it was a little higher and they wouldn't take it for a donation, we would then give you a therapeutic phlebotomy, and that's a prescription for them to draw the blood, and then they will do that. So that's what we would do to manage elevated hematocrit, hemoglobin, and red blood cell counts. All right. On semaglutide or tirzepatide, how do you protect lean muscle mass? You prioritize nutrition. And why I say that is prioritize protein. Your body needs protein. If not, your body will start cannibalizing muscle. It will get what it needs from the body. So at that point, if you're not giving the body what it needs, it's going to start taking. So this is where I say prioritize two main things: protein and fiber. If you prioritize those things, you're going to be golden, I promise. Does GHKCU influence collagen markers measurably, or is it mainly cosmetic improvement? It influences collagen markers measurably. It works tremendously in the body for collagen, for aesthetic purposes, for cosmetic improvement, and much more. So, this is definitely a game changer. I think that everybody out there should be on GHKCU that can be. Is Michael Hearn on steroids? Good question. I like the questions. So if Mike was here, we would talk about this. Mike, from blood testing, with us being on for 3.5 years with Titan Medical Center and blood testing, Mike has never had high testosterone levels or higher testosterone levels. It's been between 400 and 600 straight up on his total. So if you guys are wondering, but he does take a ton of different peptides from us. Peptides, glutathione, NAD, BPC, TB500, the Glow package, Titan Transformation, all these great things Mike does take. How do you avoid excessive water retention on growth hormone peptides? Well, usually if you're taking the recommended dose, you're not having too much water retention. With this, I would focus more on drinking more water if you're having water retention, but it could be a dose too. If you're taking too much, it might cause water retention. So that's what I would say. Always watching videos. Thank you, Tony. I appreciate it and hope all is well. Do you adjust peptide timing around sleep cycles or better GH release? So I would do it around. I mean, usually GH release is better during sleep cycle. So, right before you go to bed is usually when people usually take their growth and releasing hormone peptide or whatever they're taking, or right in the morning before they go about their day before they eat. That would be another one. Okay. How does chronic caffeine use affect cortisol and testosterone levels? Well, I would say abnormal chronic caffeine use or overdosing on caffeine could probably raise cortisol levels, right? And testosterone levels, I don't know how much true effect it would have, but if you're not getting a lot of sleep because you're taking a whole bunch of caffeine, this could definitely affect both those levels too as well. Now, me, I take caffeine every single day. I'm taking probably 225 to 250 milligrams of caffeine per day, and that's it. So, with that, I'm not really overdosing on caffeine at all. I'm well within daily limits of caffeine, and I check my cortisol and testosterone levels all the time. Testosterone, there's not really a battle there because I'm taking testosterone, so it's where it needs to be. It's optimal. Cortisol, I don't take anything for cortisol. Cortisol levels always come back great, and I'm on caffeine every single day. So I think it really does have the effect of how much you're taking, and if you're getting sleep, as far as that goes for those two things. When libido is low but total testosterone is normal, what do you look at? SHBG and free testosterone first. So yeah, so what you would do is you would look at if your libido is like that. So and total testosterone is normal. Now, what is normal? That's the first question. The second thing would be is you usually would get a free and total testosterone test, and usually if the free's lower, then that's going to have a problem. If SHBG is high, then you have low you have low free testosterone. If your free testosterone is low, you have high SHBG. So what does that mean? That means that your testosterone is bound, right? And you need to unbind it. There is a medication called Danazol that you can take that we prescribe to patients that do need it. It would be Danazol, and that would unlock your free testosterone. But depending on how your total testosterone is too, we need to look at that. For example, a male's total testosterone through LabCorp is 216 to 946. It's a huge range. So if you're at 400, that's normal, but that's not a good normal, and that could be affecting to the libido. So just look at that. Can caffeine blunt recovery signals when someone's on BPC or GH peptides? No. And like I said, it goes back to how much you're taking too as well. Don't be overdosing on caffeine every single day, and you'll be fine. Stay within the daily limits. Daily limits is about 400 milligrams. So at that point, stay within your daily limits. Okay, fitness, we appreciate it. Thank you guys. Well, listen, I just want to go on here, answer all the questions with you guys, go through here and make sure that I connected with you guys, because me and Mike really didn't get to hit the questions. And this was kind of like a throwing together live today, right beforehand. That's kind of why we were disorganized a little bit. So I apologize. At that point, that's it though. I appreciate you guys, and I'll see you guys tomorrow, I guess, with Jimmy, the Titans Edge, with John and Evolving with John and Jimmy. God, I gotta get that title back again. All right, guys. So we'll see you tomorrow. I appreciate it. Thank you guys.